This is I.S. Kamar Farzana Banu, Assistant Professor in Botany, working in Maharani Science College, for Women, Bangalore. In this video, I will explain the secondary growth in dicot stem and anomalous secondary growth in Dracena and Bairavia, which is prescribed in BSc Second Sem Botany syllabus of Bangalore University. Let us walk through the PPT which I have prepared in this context. These are the content of this topic. So, to begin with, the definition of the primary growth and secondary growth. The next point is structure of young dicot stem. The third is secondary growth in dicot stem. Fourth, anomalous secondary growth in Dracena and Bairavia. Okay. Before going in detail, so I will like you to tell you that definition of the primary growth and secondary growth. Let us study what is that primary growth. The primary growth is nothing but increase in length of the shoot and root is referred to as primary growth. The primary body of the plant is developed from the apical meristems. Now let us see what is that secondary growth. The secondary growth is the increase in thickness or girth of the plant body, which is seen in dicot and gymnosperms. This is nothing but a growth in thickness due to the activity of lateral meristems, that is cambium and warp cork cambium. And this cambial activity is called secondary growth. The tissue formed during the secondary growth are called secondary tissues. The secondary tissues are of two types, that is vascular tissues and cork and fallow duct. So now, before going in detail regarding the secondary growth in dicot stem, I will like to tell you with regard to the structure of young dicot stem. So, tridike stem may be studied as a best example of dicot stem. So, the tridike is botanically called Tridike procumbens is a wild growing ephemeral mesophytic prostrate herb. So, a transverse section of the young dicot stem shows the three main regions. So, that is epidermis, cortex and stele. In the young dicot stem, in brief we can say the primary vascular bundles are arranged in a broken ring. The second point is collateral, conjoint, open, endarc. The primary vascular bundles are separated by the primary medullary rays. So, that particular thing what I had told you is found in this image. So, this image indicates the young dicot stem. So, it's ground plan. So, which I told you just now, it is differentiated into epidermis, cortex, stellar portion. And this a portion enlarged which is there here. So, here in the portion you can see a cuticle. So, below that there is a epidermis, cortex, that is having outer cortex made up of collenchyma, the inner cortex made up of parenchyma. Inner to that, the innermost layer of the cortex is called endodermis. So, this endodermis is followed by a so-called sclerenchyma fibers are nothing but bundle cap, and followed by that, so the vascular bundle consists of phloem, xylem. In between that there is a cambium and there is a pith in the center. Like that you can see the vascular bundles, they are arranged in the form of a ring. So, and coming to the details of what I had told you just now from the image. So, the epidermis I told you just now, it is made up of a single layer with closely packed regular cells, and above which there is a cuticle layer. Followed by that there are lot of multicellular hairs or stem hairs. So, occasionally if the stem is young and green, it has stomata. And now let us move to the second zone, that is cortex region. So, the cortex zone or the region has two important regions. What are those? One is outer cortex and the inner cortex. So, outer cortex made up of collenchyma, or sometimes you can also see chlorenchyma. And followed by that there is a parenchyma, that is the innermost layer of the cortex, that is followed by parenchyma, and inner to that one, so you can see the stellar portion. So the innermost layer of the cortex is said to be endodermis. So followed by that there are stelae. So this endodermis is whose cells are rich in starch grains, hence also known as starch sheath. It has thickening on the radial walls called Casparian thickening. And next to endodermis is the pericycle. It is represented by patches or cap, so hence it is also called bundle cap or sclerenchyma, which is present above the each vascular bundle. So now the vascular bundles are many in number arranged in the ring which I have told you just now, surrounded by central pith. Each vascular bundle is conjoint, so that is nothing but xylem and phloem combining to form a single bundle. Collateral, that is xylem phloem on the same radii with xylem phloem arrangement, and open, that is if the open is to secondary growth, that is cambium is present with end arc xylem. What is the meaning? The end arc is nothing but protoxylem pointing towards pith region. So coming to the vascular bundles which I told you have the phloem and xylem. Phloem consists of sieve tubes, companion cells, phloem parenchyma, in between which there is a cambium, which is said to be intravascular, present within the vascular bundle. The cambial rings are thin walled, rectangular and actively dividing. Next to the cambium internally is the xylem with the protoxylem facing the pith. So coming to the xylem consists of vessels, tracheids, wood fiber and xylem parenchyma. Between the vessels are found the wood parenchyma. So now between the vascular bundles are present radially elongated parenchyma cells constituting medullary rays. And in the center, so there is a parenchymatous large pith. So now coming to the secondary growth in dicot stem. So the growth of the stem in thickness due to the activity of cambium is known as secondary growth or secondary thickening. So it consists or it occurs in dicots as well as gymnosperms only. Here there is a further growth in thickness in diameter due to the activity of lateral meristems, that is nothing but cambium and cork cambium, or you can say the vascular cambium and cork cambium. This cambial activity is called secondary growth. So the tissues formed during secondary growth are called secondary tissues. The secondary tissues are of two types, the vascular tissues and the cork and the phylloderm. So now coming to the secondary growth which is taking place in the following steps. So there are 4 different types. What are those? So the first one is formation of cambial ring. So the second one is activity of cambial ring, and the third one is formation of secondary vascular tissues, and lastly formation of periderm. So the first 3, that is 1, 2 and 3. So these together form the so-called intrastellar activity, and the last one, that is formation of periderm, is nothing but extrastellar activity of a cambium. So now the first point is the formation of cambial ring. So before going in detail, so during secondary growth, I told you just now, there is a formation of cambial ring takes place. How? Let us study. The cambium present in the primary vascular bundles is known as fascicular cambium or vascular cambium. It is primary in origin, present in between xylem and phloem. Before secondary growth starts, the parenchymatous cells of the medullary rays, which are in line with fascicular cambium, become meristematic and it forms a strip of interfascicular cambium. Now these two strips, that is interfascicular cambium and fascicular cambium, join to form a ring. Thus a continuous cambial ring is formed. So this cambial ring is now formed of fascicular as well as interfascicular cambium. These cambium cells are of two kinds, namely the fusiform initials and the ray initials. The fusiform initials produce secondary tissues which remain arranged parallel due to the long axis of the organ, forming the longitudinal system. The ray initials gives rise to the ray cells of the xylem and phloem, forming the horizontal system. Now the second point, the activity of cambial ring. So after the formation of cambial ring, now the activity begins. Let us study what it is. The cambial ring cuts off vascular tissues on either side. The cells produced on the outer side become differentiated into secondary phloem, whereas the cells which are inner side develop into secondary xylem. So the cambium produces more amount of secondary xylem than secondary phloem. Due to the formation of secondary xylem, the primary xylem are pushed towards the center, and due to the formation of secondary phloem, the primary phloem masses are pushed outward. So the primary phloem gets crushed and the primary xylem remains intact at the center. The ray initials of the cambial ring cuts off narrow secondary medullary rays which extend both into the secondary xylem as well as the secondary phloem. The third point is formation of secondary vascular tissues. So as a result of cambial ring formation takes place, now the vascular tissues or the secondary vascular tissues begins. So now the secondary vascular tissues are the secondary xylem and the secondary phloem. They are formed by the fusiform initials of the vascular cambium, and the secondary xylem is known as wood. So it consists of tracheids, vessels, wood fiber and wood parenchyma. Secondary phloem is known as bast. It consists of sieve tubes, companion cells, phloem fibers and phloem parenchyma. So whatever I have explained, the four important points that can be seen here in A. So in A you can make out that there is a formation of cambial ring, and in the C you can make out that as a result of cambial ring formation the secondary tissues are added up. So secondary tissues, that is nothing but secondary xylem, secondary phloem developed. Okay. So next step is formation of periderm. So how the formation of periderm begins? So due to the secondary growth, the diameter of the stem increases. So and the results in the rupture of the epidermis, the stem develops a new protective tissue that is known as periderm. The periderm is produced by a new lateral meristem called phellogen or cork cambium, that is seen in the earlier image which I will show you. So here you can see the so-called development of the so-called phellogen or the cork cambium. As a result, the cork is developed. So now the phellogen, which I told you is nothing but a cork cambium, is formed in the superficial layers of the cortex. The cells are living, thin-walled, compactly arranged, and this phellogen produces the phellum on the outside and phelloderm on the inner side. This phellum is also known as cork and the phelloderm is also called secondary cortex. So these three tissues, that is phellogen, phellum, phelloderm, form the periderm, which I can show you in the image which is formed, that is periderm is formed. Okay. So now coming to the annual rings. What are those annual rings? So in favorable season, the temperature is optimum. There is a good sunshine, humidity. At this time what happens? The newly formed leaves produce hormones which stimulate the cambial activity. So hence the annual or the yearly growth appears in the form of distinct rings, which are called annual rings or growth rings. So it is a wood. What are growth rings? So it is a wood formed in a single layer, a single growth ring or annual ring. It consists of two types of wood. So two types of wood, that is spring wood and autumn wood. The spring or the early wood is much wider than the autumn or late wood. It is lighter in color, and the spring wood consists of larger and wider xylem elements. So the autumn or the late wood is dark colored and of higher density and contains the compactly arranged smaller and narrower elements with thicker walls. In autumn wood, the tracheids and the fibers are more abundant than those found in the spring wood. The spring wood, autumn wood are together form concentric rings that represents one annual ring, that is yearly annual ring. Thus, eccentric rings of woods are formed. Each year's growth is quite distinct. The number of annual rings correspond to the age of that part of the stem or plant body. They can be counted by increment borer. Thus, the age of the plant can be calculated by counting the number of the annual rings. This branch of science is known as dendrochronology. So, whatever I have explained, that can be seen here in the form of, so in A and B, you can make out the annual rings which are developed. As a result, what happens? So, there are development. So, that is in this image, you can make out that the transverse section of the old dicot stem. Okay. So, the sector showing heartwood and sapwood. So, okay, and also showing the annual rings. So, next one is with regard to sapwood and heartwood. What are those sapwood and heartwood? In old dicot stems, the central portion is very hard and black in color. This is called heartwood, or technically it is called duramen. The outer portion of the stem is light brown in color, that is called sapwood, and it is technically called alburnum. So this sapwood is meant for conduction and heartwood for mechanical supports. So now the wood of the older stem, so you can see in the Dalbergia, acacia and examples I have quoted here. So there we can make out the outer light colored and functional sapwood or alburnum, and the inner darker and non-functional heartwood or duramen. The tracheids and vessels of the heartwood get plugged by the ingrowth of the adjacent parenchyma cells into their cavities through the pits. These ingrowths are the balloon-like structures are called tylosis, that I will show you in the next image. So ultimately, the parenchyma cells become lignified and dead. Various types of plant products like oil, resin, gums, aromatic substances, essential oils, tannins are deposited in the cells of the heartwood. Hence, it is so called heartwood. It is also called hardwood. Okay, these substances are collectively called extractives. They provide color to the heartwood. They are also antiseptic. The heartwood is therefore stronger and more durable than the sapwood. Hence, it is used in all the furniture woodworks. It is resistant to attack of insects, microbes. And heartwood is commercial source of Kutch and Catechu, Acacia catechu, Hematoxylon campesianum, Brazilian, that is Cisalpinia sapin, and Santalin, Sterocarpus santalinus. Heartwood is, however, liable to the attack by wood rotting fungi. Hollow tree trunks are due to their activity. So, whatever I have explained you, everything is there here in this image. So, sapwood and heartwood, you can make out that heartwood is in the center, whereas sapwood is just above it, that is in the cork region. Okay. So, in this second diagram, so B, so you can make out the tylosis, which I explained you that they are the balloon-like structures that is developed in the parenchyma tissue near the xylem. Okay. So now coming to the lenticels, what are these lenticels? So lenticels, the aerating spores, they are the aerating spores are the openings in the bark of the plants. They appear on the surface of the bark as raised scars containing oval, rounded or oblong depressions. They occur in woody trees but not in the climber. Normally, they are formed in areas with underlying rays for facilitating gas exchange. Lenticels may occur scattered or form longitudinal rows. So, what are these lenticels? Let's study what it is. So, a lenticel is commonly produced beneath a foramen stomata or stoma of the epidermis. Its skin is raised and is formed by surrounding cork cell. The lenticel is filled by a loosely arranged thin-walled, rounded, suberized or unsuberized cells. They are called complementary cells. So, in the image, Pronos image I have shown you, I will show you later. They enclose intercellular spaces for gaseous exchange. The complementary cells are formed from loosely arranged phellogen cells and division of substomatal parenchyma cells. So, the superized nature of complementary cells checks excessive evaporation of water. So, these are lenticels, just now I told you, on account of the pressure which is created because of secondary growth. So, the epidermis actually ruptures to form these spores. Okay, these spores, they are nothing but lenticels. So, the diagram of the lenticel is there here in this image. The epidermis, phellogen is there, phelloderm is there, phellum is there. So, as a result, because of the secondary tissues which are added, this increases the diameter, and as a result, so because of the pressure, it forms a so-called pores or the openings. They are nothing but lenticels. So, these openings are the lenticels has below which there is a complementary cells or a tissue. So, this is with reference to the lenticel. Okay. So, now whatever I have explained you just now with regard to the secondary growth in detail. So, in short, I can say the significance of secondary growth. So, the first point is, so during secondary growth, what happens? So, during secondary growth in case of dicot stem, the width of the tree stem increases. Okay. Second point is shapes the plant into a tree. So a small plant it will develop into a tree because of the secondary growth. The third point is it gives mechanical strength, as we have studied earlier that there are addition of secondary tissues added up. Because of that it gives a mechanical strength to the main plant body or support to the main plant body. So now next point is horizontal transport of sap. So you can make out the horizontal transport of sap, nothing but the water from the root to the other parts of the plant body. And coming to the storage of food, so storage of food also can be seen here. And the next point is, sixth point is tyloses prevent the decay of hardwood. So coming to the annual rings help to determine the age of the tree. So if you want to find out the age of the tree with the help of the study that is called dendrochronology, what you have to do is we have to see the annual ring, number of annual rings by taking the borer which is there. So with the borer you can make out the number of the annual rings. By that we can determine the age of the trees. So last point is it produces the fiber for textile and brushes. So textile industry, it is very good raw material for the textile industry. These are the significance of the secondary growth in case of dicot stem. Next, moving on to the next content, that is anomalous secondary growth in case of Bairavia stem. So coming to the Bairavia stem, so what is this? Let us study. So the Bairavia diffusa, so its botanical name is Bairavia diffusa. It is a small semi-prostrate spreading herb, belongs to the family Nyctaginaceae. Okay. So if you take up a young Bairavia stem, its transverse section and see under the microscope, it shows the following structures. Okay, young one. So the first one is the transverse section of the stem, Bairavia stem, it reveals the following points. So first one is epidermis. What is this? Epidermis is the outermost single layer which bears number of multicellular hairs. Followed by that there is a cortex. Second zone is cortex zone or region. So the epidermis is followed by hypodermis. It is made up of 2 to 3 layered collenchyma, which is followed by parenchymatous cortex, also having few chlorenchyma cells, and followed by this cortex the endodermis. So the innermost layer of the cortex is endodermis. Next to the cortex is a indistinct endodermis here, and pericycle is parenchymatous. And coming to the stele or vascular region. So the vascular bundles here in case of Bairavia stem, they are arranged. So they are collateral. They are many in number. They are collateral. They are conjoined, end arc and open type. So whatever we have discussed in dicot stem. Okay, let us study the vascular bundle details. So here these vascular bundles are arranged in 3 rings totally, of which inner ring, that is inner ring which is towards the pith region, they have 2 large centrally located medullary vascular bundles. Okay, the middle ring is made up of 6 to 14 loosely arranged vascular bundles, and the last ring, that is the outer ring, has around 15 to 20 vascular bundles. Okay, in Bairavia stem the secondary growth, that is with regard to the young Bairavia stem we have studied. Now let us study in Bairavia stem the secondary growth is limited in the inner 2 vascular bundles. So we have studied now there are 3 important rings. The inner ring, that is having 2 vascular bundles facing opposite to each other, so that has very limited growth, and the middle ring, that is having 6 to 14 vascular bundles. Okay, as a result they slightly increase in their size, that's it, they stop now. And in this stem the secondary growth occurs by the activity of a complete cambium formed in the outer ring. Now the secondary growth starts in the outer ring of the vascular bundle in the normal position. After a period of activity, this cambium ceases to function. This is the abnormal point here, point to be noted. The outer ring consists of around 15 to 20 vascular bundles. Here the inter and interfascicular cambial strips join together to form cambial ring. As usual, there is a formation of cambial ring here also. But the cambial ring produces secondary xylem in the intrafascicular region, whereas the lignified conjunctive tissue in the interfascicular region on the inner side, and on the outer side secondary phloem facing the secondary xylem, and parenchyma opposite to the conjunctive tissue. So after the formation of the secondary tissues, the cambium ceases its function. So note this point. So after the formation of secondary tissue, the cambium ceases its activity in the third ring. Okay. And a new cambial ring gets differentiated. This is the abnormal, unusual character here, combining the secondary parenchyma cells opposite to the conjunctive tissue and the cells of the pericycle outside the phloem. This accessory cambium functions in a manner similar to vascular cambium and produces similar tissues. As a result of this, a fourth ring of vascular bundles of secondary origin are produced. Very soon, this cambium also stops functioning now. Okay, and one more cambial ring gets differentiated, which also functions in the similar manner. So note this point here. As a result of these successive cambial differentiations, several concentric rings of vascular bundles are formed in the only in the third ring after the third ring. Okay, these vascular bundles gets embedded in the thick conjunctive tissue separated by thin walled parenchyma, gives the appearance of the growth rings. Okay, whatever I have explained here, that can be seen in this TS of Bhairava ground plan in this one, and a portion enlarged which can be seen here. So which I have explained to you in a simple way, I will tell you. So young ground plan in a young stem, you can see that there is epidermis, hypodermis, followed by parenchyma, and that is cortex. So followed by that there is a ring of vascular bundles. So that is the third ring, and in the center there is the inner ring and the middle ring. Okay, so likewise this is the young stem. And now what will happen here? As I have told you, so the cambial activity can be seen only in the third ring. So as a result, annual rings develop one after the other. So one ring stops its activity. In adjacent, there is one more cambial ring. As a result, that will also stop. Like that, there is a successive arrangement of the annual rings or formation of the annual rings. So that is an unusual character. Okay. So the stem of Bhairava diffuse are showing 4 accessory cambial rings. So whatever I explained you, so in the center you can make out the medullary ring. Okay, central one, this is medullary ring, the first inner ring, followed by the next ring, the third ring wherein the annual rings you can see first, second, third, like that. Okay, so like that you can see the so-called the rings, development of the cambial rings, development of the accessory cambial rings. And at the same point, what happens during the cork, during in the cork region also, whatever we have studied in the transverse section of dicot stem, here also the cork development takes place. Okay. So now coming to the anomalous secondary growth in monocot stem. Let us study what it is. Okay. So Bhairava we have studied, that is a dicot stem. Okay, that is that we have just now we have discussed. Whereas the anomalous secondary growth seen in monocot stem, example here is nothing but Dracaena. So now coming to the Dracaena, this is a monocot plant belonging to the family Liliaceae, which is a perennial herb. Generally in monocots, there will be no secondary growth at all due to the lack of cambium here. But abnormally, unusually or abnormally, there is a secondary growth also occurs in these Liliaceae members. What are those? So they are Dracaena, Yucca, Agave, etc. Okay. Now coming to the young stem of Dracaena consists of normal monocotyledonous structures are as follows. So young stem, so here it is differentiated into, so epidermis single layered, hypodermis few layered, having collenchymatous, and next followed by the ground tissue. So the vascular bundles in the ground tissue are many in number. They are conjoined, collateral and closed, which lies scattered in the ground tissue. And now coming to the secondary growth in Dracaena. So this is actually initiated by one of the outer layer of the ground tissue. Note the point here. So all the vascular bundles are scattered, something like monocot stem. Here also they are scattered. But what happens here is the initiation of one of the layer, that is outer layer of the ground tissue, the initiation of the secondary growth begins or started, and it becomes meristematic, functions as cambium arising outside the primary vascular bundles. This abnormal cambium produces more cells towards inner side than towards the outer side. The outer derivatives develop into thin-walled parenchyma, whereas inner derivatives develop partly into a lignified conjunctive parenchyma and partly into secondary vascular tissues. Each cambial cells divides anticlinally to form a row of 4 cells. Further divisions are irregular. The cells towards the periphery develop into xylem and those towards the center develop into phloem. Like that, the cambium proliferates parenchyma outside, whereas it proliferates xylem and parenchyma in the alternate patches on the inner side. And after secondary growth, the stem of Dracaena shows the following features. What are those? Outermost layer is epidermis, beneath which there is a cork, and internal to this is a parenchymatous cortex, which is secondary in origin. It is derived from the cambium. Next to the secondary cortex is the cambium. Internal to the cambium are found the secondary vascular bundles embedded in the thick-walled conjunctive tissue. The secondary vascular bundles are amphivasal, that is, phloem surrounded by xylem on all the sides. Okay, toward the center of the stem are found the normal primary vascular bundles. So whatever I have explained just now, that can be seen in the image of the TS of Dracaena stem ground plan, wherein many vascular bundles they are present scattered, whereas only with the last vascular bundle layer, you can see the development of the meristematic zone or meristem or cambium. So with that cambium, you can make out the so-called ring-like development of the secondary tissues. So a portion enlarged, in that also you can make out the epidermis followed by cork cells, followed by cortex, and that is followed by parenchyma, cambium, conjunctive tissue, wherein you can make out the secondary vascular bundles, and down you can see the ground tissue having primary vascular bundles. So likewise, you can make out the primary tissues and the development of secondary tissues. So this is what with respect to so-called Dracaena or anomalous secondary growth in the Bhairavi and Dracaena. Thank you for listening my talk. Thank you so much.